Bank Rank survey found 44% of Americans can afford a $1,000 emergency. Healthcare Cost Institute found that the average ER visit in America costs over $1,300. And the average 20% down payment on a new car today costs over $8,000. Now, if that sounds scary, that's okay, because today we're going to be speaking about solutions on how to save $10,000 fast. Make sure you stay till the end of the video to get all the solutions. Now, one of the first things we're going to speak about, saving $10,000 can be actually broken down into quantifiable tasks, quantifying it into a monthly basis or bi-weekly. Most people get paid on a bi-weekly basis, and the number you would be looking for is about $385 every 2 weeks. Now, there's about 26 pay periods if you're being paid on a bi-weekly basis in a 52-week year. So if you go ahead and do the math, 26 pay periods times $385 is going to get you to that $10,000 mark. Now, if you would rather save on a monthly basis, you're going to be looking at a number of $834 a month, which is going to get you to that $10,000 mark after about 12 months. That's one of the first steps in actually completing this $10,000 goal, because you can actually break this down into metrics that actually work with your income. Now, the first thing we're going to speak about is a conscious money plan. A conscious money plan is you being able to be self-aware about how much money is coming in on a monthly basis and how much money is going out. And one of the best ways to do this that I recommend to all my clients is to actually print out the last 3 months of your bank statements from your checkings or your savings account, and actually take 3 different highlighters. Yep, 3 different highlighters, and you're going to separate those expenses into 3 different categories. Some of them is going to be subscriptions, another one is going to be bills, and the last one is going to be miscellaneous expenses. Now, the reason you're doing this is because you can better gauge what you're spending money on. A lot of people don't actually know what they're spending money on. I mean, I've even had trouble spending money on subscriptions I didn't even know I was still paying for, just because it's so easy to sign up for it with a click of a button. Now, one of the best ways I actually recommend to keep track of your expenses using an app, here's a nice hack. Download an app called Rocket Money. The app Rocket Money is actually going to be able to tell you what money you had coming in from your paychecks, as well as what subscriptions you spent money on, as well as your bills that you actually spent money on for that month. Now, the best part I like about Rocket Money is the fact that you can actually cancel some of your subscriptions right through the Rocket Money app. Yes, that's great. You can cancel your subscriptions right through the Rocket Money app. So make sure to go ahead and take a look at that. Now that we've actually divvied up our expenses into different categories, the next step is to cut out all the unnecessary expenses you have within your budget and actually make sure that you're only spending money on what you need to, or a fraction of what you want to. Because part of this conscious money plan is being able to make certain sacrifices so that you can actually practice delayed gratification and get to that $10,000 mark to put you and your family ahead of the game in these hard economic times. Solution 2 we're going to get into is actually how to focus on raising your income. Now, yes, the goal is to save money, but for some of you, after you actually do accounting of how much money is going out and how much money you need to save every month or every pay period, you might realize you're not making enough money to currently do that. That doesn't stop here. The best thing we can start with is actually speaking to our management and our employer about a pay raise. Now, for some of you, the first solution is going to be speaking to them about maybe extra work you can do. Maybe you can write up the actual plan and say, hey, these are some of the objectives that I've completed in the last quarter. I wanted you to review this, and we can actually talk about increasing my salary another 10 to 20%. You'd be surprised at some of the results my clients have gotten when they've actually spoken to these management. Now, for some of you, it's actually going to be job jumping. Now, that's something I'm very familiar with. As I was trucking over the road, I actually spent time seeing different companies that were in my area, or speaking to different drivers of the road who were actually working at companies that were being paid more. Now, I actually job jumped several times in my trucking career just in the last 2 years I've been trucking. Now, the reason for that is with each job jump, I was actually making more every week. My minimum at my first company out of trucking school was a fraction of my third company that I found through a referral. So make sure job jumping is something you actually take a look at, just because in today's times, employers are actually rewarding new hires more than actually old hires who've been at the company for years. And I'm sure you're well aware of the statistics, and if you aren't, you should be, because some of you are being taken advantage of, and the best way to figure this out is simply by seeing what the new hires are being offered and their compensation packages. The third thing you can do to raise your income outside of pay raises and outside of job jumping to better paying jobs, start a side hustle. There's many side hustles to do. Some of you are familiar with some of them, such as DoorDash, Uber, or Uber Eats. Now, some of you might have a skill that you can actually do on the weekends. Maybe, you realize that there's actually baseball games for the little leagues in your area, and they need someone to go ahead and coach and referee the games. Maybe you can make a couple $100s every weekend doing that. Once you've figured out how you're going to raise your income to meet that $834 a month threshold, or that $385 every 2-week pay period threshold, you're now in a position where all you have to do is make sure you combine discipline into what you're doing. This is solution number 3, is having money drawn automatically out of your account. Yes, for some of you, you might struggle with discipline and making sure that you actually pay yourself first. One of the best things I recommend to all my friends and clients is to actually pay themselves first. Now, what does this mean? This means that you go to your new employer or your current employer and you sign up with another checkings or savings account that you want to pay yourself first with. You can actually go into your pay portal with whatever software your employer uses and actually make sure that you have a percentage or dollar amount taken out of your every check or every pay period when you get paid that goes directly into your savings or your investment account. I actually have experience doing this, as when I was trucking over the road, every Thursday or Friday when I would get paid, I'd make sure I take a percentage of my earnings and it automatically withdraw it and deposit it into my TD Ameritrade investment account. This was the account I used to trade stocks with and actually earn dividends from. I recommend you do the same thing. Pay yourself first, guys. Remember that. Pay yourself first. In terms of saving $10,000 fast, a lot of this does come down to discipline, guys. A lot of this comes down to making sure you have a conscious money plan that works and having some willpower. So what I want you to go ahead and do is take a notebook and paper and list the 5 most important reasons and priorities in terms of why you want to save $10,000 and what that's going to be able to do for you. One of the things I always do when I'm trying to achieve a goal is I want to focus on what is the reasoning behind this goal? What is the motivation? How can I future pace? Future pacing is when you can look into the future and see whatever result you wanted and what that can actually do for your future self. A lot of you need to learn how to practice delayed gratification. Some of this is not just practical. Some of the solutions that you actually need to work on might be psychological, emotional. Some of you might realize you're spending too much money on eating out and you need a sacrifice there. Some of you might realize you're spending too much money on equipment for hobbies that you're not spending too much time on, and that's actually distracting from whatever else you want to do. Some of you might realize that you're spending too much money on a place or mode of transportation. You don't need to live in the fanciest house. Some of you are living in oversized homes and apartments. So an option may look like for you may be to downsize a home. An option for you may be actually you buying a used car rather than a new car this year. So these are things that you can actually focus on how to save $10,000 fast within the span of a year. And I promise if you guys follow these tips, you will save more than $10,000 as long as you stay committed to these goals and committed to being disciplined with your actions. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to leave some more information in the description. There's going to be some links provided for you to click on to learn more. Go ahead and check out some of my other videos. Go ahead and like this video, please, and go ahead and hit the subscription button as well as the notification bell so you can actually stay up to date on new videos I make. That's going to help you have a better relationship with money. I hope you guys have an awesome week and take care of yourself.